Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
And Happy New Year to you. I'm not sure you've been on the show this entire year. Okay, so Happy New Year to you. Let me begin with you, Dr. Tetefio. The primary ways that, we can prevent cervical cancer, so as a young person, if the prevalence is 14 or so, I'm saying to 40, what is the protection like? What should you do? That's the first thing you do.
So usually between the ages of 9 and 14, 15, WHO recommends that young women are vaccinated with the vaccine. If you remember last year, the government Ministry of Health rolled out a cervical cancer and vaccination program. And this was geared towards reducing the burden of cervical cancer and HPV-related infections in the country. So usually for that age bracket, what we advocate more is vaccination. Then within the ages of 20 to 20, from 20 upwards, we then institute what we call screening. And even with the screening, there are two types depending on the age bracket you find yourself in. From 20 to 29, what the recommendation gives is pap smear every 3 years. Now, between the ages of 30 to 65, it's pap smear with the HPV DNA, which we call co-testing, every 5 years. If you consistently do this and then after age 65, there's no positive results, then you are good to go. But in as much as we are screening for cervical cancer, we also advise and encourage women to practice safe sexual practices to reduce their chances of being burdened with cervical cancer. Because HPV doesn't only cause cervical cancer. It can cause the genital warts, it can cause vulvar cancer, it can cause anal cancer, it can cause oral, head and neck cancers, it can even cause penile cancer. So there's a need to not only focus on cervical cancer, but also on other cancers that can be caused by HPV.
Wow.
Most of the risk factors is if you are sexually active. Most of the risk factors is if you are sexually active. You see, as I said, smoking can give you cervical cancer. It stands alone. But HPV, and how do we get HPV? There are risk factors to getting HPV. For example, early coitus. When I say early coitus, it means having sex quite early in life. The research has shown that those who have sex below 18 years, the first time below 18 years, are even at more risk than those who have it at maybe 20 years. So if you have sex quite early, so I always tell the teenagers and the SHS students, I always talk to that when they say enjoy life, make all the mistakes you want in this life, and when you are young, it's a lie, and that you pay for it, because the virus has to be there for a certain number of years, quietly, silently. You don't know, it's just there. So the earlier you are exposed, the higher your risk. If you have multiple sexual partners, your risk is higher. You understand? Because Kofi has Amma has Kojo, then it goes around. And if you have a high risk sexual partner, no matter your age, you are still prone or at risk of the HPV. If you have HIV infection or any other STIs, you may tend to, be at risk of having the HPV. And as I said, the research says about 10 years, that's how. So if your first sexual encounter is 9 years, which, we should realize that the children are having sex quite early now, so they are at risk. So even if at 9 years and it's there 10 years, 12 years, 15 years now, you're a young woman working, have a family, by 44, something starts happening, okay? So, yeah, that's the risk. There is multiparity.
So it's worth emulating that the government is ruling this out this early, because as you say, we know that these children are sexually active now. So things like condom and all the other protective mechanisms don't even come to play yet.
No, condom does protect you from STIs. It does, and it will eventually prevent you from getting the HPV vaccine. Okay, once you are using condoms. But you see, the proper use of condoms, how often it's being used, just the ideal use at all. And at that ages, they don't really know, they are shy to go and buy and all that. So it may help, but then the main issue here is the vaccination or the prevention of it, the vaccination, the screening. You see, we don't really, women, we keep putting our health to the backstage a bit. So if we screen, yes. So we have to do all these three things in order to get, a lot of, because about 2,000 women die yearly because of cervical cancer in Ghana. That's a lot of women, mothers, daughters, wives. And so this is what will help. The vaccination, the screening, okay? workers, we work at least every 3 to 5 years, depending on what doc said, where you fall. It should be part of your New Year checklist. Yes, that's what I've been saying since 1st January. Have you checked your checklist? Is pap smear, HPV testing part of it? Yes, so all the plans we are making is the screening part of it in any way. So we should, and when we develop symptoms, we need to go. Bleeding outside your menses is not normal. Any foul smelling discharge is not normal. You go and check it. You are losing weight, you can't eat, you are feeling funny, and if you have sex and then you bleed afterwards, it's a very high risk factor, or a very potent symptom that maybe you may have cervical cancer.
Wow. I mean, Dr. Tetefio, we've been doing this advocacy for long. My friend is an oncologist nurse, if I can say that, and she was telling me how they've been overwhelmed with just this new year starting with the people who are reporting with cancer issues. And this advocacy has been going on for long. So is it the advocacy that's yielding results? Is it that we're getting more infections? I mean, the cancer, what's going on?
So I wouldn't say advocacy isn't yielding results. It's more about our health-seeking behaviors. Like Doc rightly said, cervical cancer is very quiet, just like hypertension. Very silent, wouldn't show.
Yes.
10 to 30 years, depending on your immune status. If you don't have any chronic, when you have HIV, then it will show itself earlier because then your immune system is weaker. So imagine you've had sex at the age of 9 and by 39 you're gone because of cervical cancer. But if you were actively checking, regardless of advocacy, you had your own checklist every 3 years, you're between 20 and 29, you're going to do your screening, pap smear test. You're 30 to 65. Every 5 years, you're screening for the HPV with the DNA. Then you know you're actively owning your health, because there's what the government can do, there's what media personalities can do, and there's what the health system can do. But beyond what these three bodies do, it's your personal health. I always say that it starts from you. I can't force you to the river. I can force you to the river, but I can't force you to drink water. So what are you doing today? What am I doing today? What is she doing today? We are here to create the awareness.
Does it seem like women do not understand how grievous this is? Because the numbers are
alarming, and usually because they report late. By the time most of them come, they come in advanced stages. I've worked in gynae oncology, and I've seen women coming in with advanced stages of cervical cancer. They come in when probably the cancer has spread to other parts of the body, the chest, the head, the feet, the kidneys. So by the time they are reporting, because something palliative care, we are just going to reduce the pain that comes with having cervical cancer, and then you can die peacefully. That's basically it. But advocacy is the mainstay. It's very important. And beyond us saying that sex is the main driving force that leads to women getting cervical cancer, there's a need for us to also educate and stop being ostriches, pretending that children are not having sex. They are having sex. Let's face reality. They are having sex. Let's advocate. Let's educate them. I'm not up for contraception use at that early age. I'm not up for a child less than 18 years to go ahead to buy condom. But what's the essence of trying to be an ostrich when a lot of them are coming down with the infection and dying at an early age? So rather, let's educate them. When I was younger, NCC was doing a lot of education when it came to sexual health and all that. But now we don't see those kind of campaigns anymore. We don't see them coming out to do a lot of
on social media.
Exactly. And social media would say all the crazy stuff, but they wouldn't really practice it. So in as much as we are advocating at the pharmacies, we should stop this whole stigmatization when young women are coming in to buy condoms, when young men are coming in to buy condoms. When I go out to talk to young girls, I tell them, if you think you can't abstain, which is the most basic and safe practice, beyond vaccination, beyond screening, abstinence is the best. Stick to one partner. For whatever reason, the young girls will tell us that when they finish senior high school, they're coming for our men. They're going to crazy stuff to them. And it's the trend among their generation. So what are we going to do as young women, as health practitioners, as mothers, as advocates groups? create more awareness.
And maybe we should, in creating the awareness, if we can have survivors tell their stories.
We can have survivors tell their stories. It drives the message home better. It makes them realize that it's not just a cliche. We are actually telling you the facts on the ground and actually trying to see how best you can live. So beyond, like I said, beyond all these things, they should be able to
shredding off the stigma of going to buy a sanitary pad and it's a male attendant at the shop and you don't have to cringe about the necessity that girls must have it. Now we're talking of sex.
So you see, condoms and the stigma. We stigmatize a lot of things in our parts of the world, and it's the reason why people report in there, because a woman could have the symptoms. She could start having, because usually you see some of the symptoms beyond a certain age. We don't expect you to have certain symptoms. As when you're menopausal and you bleed after sex, especially you're having the discharge, you feel this abdominal fullness and all that. You shouldn't sit and go like, oh, it's nothing.
So that's what happens.
Some of them, that's what happens. They start seeing the symptoms and then they ignore the symptoms. The body is telling you there's something wrong with you, because the cancer doesn't just blow into a full break. We have something called pre-malignant lesions of the cervix. So that is how it starts. It has 3 stages. It starts from that pre-malignant lesions of the cervix. It has 3 stages. When you don't treat it early, and that's where we want to catch. That's what WHO wants to catch early. At least if 90% of women within the ages of 30 and above who are screened, and then we catch them. So if you come in early stage 1, stage 2, you are good. You are safe.
Do they think about the monetary aspect of it too?
So sometimes they don't. Even the society you find yourself.
Okay, so you mean that the cost of getting a vaccine or your screening is less expensive than when you're getting to the
So it's, you see, in the US, I did some research about childhood obesity in the past, and you see, they counted it in cost. That's the research. You see, it was more costly for them to try and prevent childhood obesity rather than wait and use a lot of money to manage diabetes, hypertension, cancer. It's more costly, okay? And even your quality of life, okay, the pain, the anemia, you have to come, we transfuse, we give you pain medication, you are urinating, you're uncomfortable, maybe you are breathless, you just, the quality of life, you can't do anything. And others around you have to now take care of you. The health system gets burdened. Okay, so it takes it's costly. You have to buy, even if 1,000 cedis, if it costs like that, you can save up and do, but you will spend more money, time, energy, and everything. And you said something, you were like, when men, you see, I always get into trouble for this, but
please,
you see, the men, so the men, we are all saying that, she said a lot of things that HPV can cause, because there are a lot of subtypes, okay, there are a lot of subtypes. So the men, in the US and other places where it's with the vaccination system is well established, within South Africa, they vaccinate the boys as well. So eventually, as I said, Amma's boyfriend is Kofi, Kofi's girlfriend is Akia, then you go, so the boys, you see, as our vaccination has started, program has started for the nation, it will gradually, we'll end up getting there to vaccinate the boys, because it gives us what we call a herd immunity, okay, so it's not just about because it's the girls and the women have the cervix, yes, but the men can also get all other forms, but they can also be carrying it and spreading it around. Exactly. So the boys, and as she said, you see, they are having sex early. Maybe you don't know. So our aunties, rich aunties, our mothers, you see, we should protect them. We say girls because we have the cervix, okay, and we tend to get more of the complications, okay. So we have to, say it for ourselves, but the boys and the men, okay, have to be educated as well, because having a partner with a high risk behavior puts you at risk of acquiring the HPV infection, which can lead to cervical cancer. So the boys have to also be educated. I think when we were doing the education and advocacy before the vaccination started, I went to one of the schools and the boys were like, wow. I'm like, yes.
They didn't know.
eventually boys too will be vaccinated. As we expand, we get more, manpower, resources. The boys and the men, please, we need to take care of our girls. And don't say that she is 8 years old, she is 9 years old, so you are not. We have to be gradual, but they have to know. Because if you go to the JHS or upper, now I don't know how we call them, too old now. Yes, but you have to proportion it and tell them. In their 20s, what are we telling them, and what are they supposed to do? Don't say that they are too young. What they are doing and what they are getting from, so that is the problem. So that you don't go and then now, I think if we do this, there will come a time that it will be so low.
It's like the HIV advocacy. Remember how that was so high, and aggressive music, languages, everything. And it's almost like if anybody touches you sexually, HIV and AIDS will catch you. I'll let you give your final words, Dr. Collingwood, since you are on it, and then I'll end with it.
Okay, so I would like to say that it's 3 things. Education, vaccination. Education, vaccination. Okay. The screening. The young working class.
I'm coming to screen.
The young working class. It's a big issue trying to get young working women, to come and screen.
Come and tell you how uncomfortable the
Yes, I wanted to say that. I think I even posted something about that. I was like, cervical cancer is more painful than speculum examination. Speculum examination is uncomfortable. It is. You don't need sedation for speculum exam. In 5 minutes, I'm done. Okay. And now they're even developing like a more flexible, more rubber-like, silicone-like one. But the plastic one is also, it's just small 1 minute of discomfort. I'm not even saying pain.
Hey, doc.
Oh, yes. It's a discomfort. It's just 1 minute discomfort.
All right.
You can't compare that to the pain, the odor, all those things that come with cervical cancer. Just that speculum examination, you can't compare that. So, as I said, the screening, because the problem is the work. We are working and working, but we are not paying attention to this parts of life. So the screening, we really have to, amp the screening. I think when we do this, we'll improve better.
Thank you so much, Dr. Collingwood.
There are a few things I'd like to end with. The further you've been vaccinated doesn't mean you shouldn't screen. Beyond vaccination, there are different strains of HPV. So beyond vaccination, you should still get screened. So 20 to 29 years, you are still doing the pap smear. 30 to 65, you are doing the code testing. That's the pap smear with the HPV DNA. And our boys are not left out. Boys, it's super important. You don't have a cervix. God loves you so much. So he gave you a penis. That penis can get what we call penile cancer. So you should be very, very interested in your own health as a man. Be very concerned about your health as a man. And don't go around sticking your pen in every hole because you don't know what that hole carries. So own your health as a man, very important. And let's join the campaign, media groups, organizations. See, if we reduce the burden of cervical cancer, women form a great workforce in the country, and we know how much we contribute when it comes to family, we come to the society. So let's join hands, let's join GTV, let's join the doctors, let's join the governments. Let's not wait till things get too bad, and let's come on board and reduce the burden of cervical cancer in Ghana and in Africa as a whole.
Nicely done. Thank you so much. And I did remember that clarion call on NCC and other advocacy state agents that they should keep up the advocacy of cervical cancer. Beyond vaccination, you have to still screen. That's what stuck with me. And I'm sure the gentlemen in the studio, they are the first litmus test of all of this education. They have had it. And they'll be careful. Thank you so much, doctors, for doing this. We're talking about cervical cancer. I will be in Tamale as well. I have an NGO and we'll be doing some cervical cancer screening as well. So, if you cannot be part of it, share it on social media. Spread the word this January about cervical cancer. I've been speaking to Dr. Eva Vera and also Dr. Collingwood Williams. Thank you so much, ladies. Doctors.
Thank you very
We're back with more.
And welcome Welcome to Rand Lottery Limited. Today's game is Rand Star Draw. We are live on GTV and also live on all our social media platforms. YouTube, it is Rand